Unique people leading unique lives shape and inform Iowa City. This community is enhanced by these women and men who live in our midst, working, teaching, creating. Welcome to a series of conversations with people who have stories to tell. Join my guests and me, Ellen Buchanan, in a series of interviews called One of a Kind. Volunteer, a person who renders aid, performs a service, or assumes an obligation voluntarily. These words perfectly describe my guest, Kitty Davis. Kitty was a mainstay in the soup kitchen at the Salvation Army for many years, often serving food in the evening to 50 to 75 people. Besides cooking in the kitchen, she collected donations of food and found other volunteers to help prepare and serve it. Prior to her work with the Salvation Army, she fundraised for United Action for Youth and the Reproductive Rights Coalition. Kitty has been a friend to refugees, helping them translate important documents, finding them jobs, places to live, and medical help. Cooking has been a theme in her life, as she had a catering business for years while making wedding cakes for various clients. She even helped cook a large meal to raise money to send City High School's concert choir to Washington, D.C. Kitty Davis was born in Hong Kong and moved to Iowa City in 1963. That's 42 years ago. She speaks both Cantonese and Mandarin. She and her husband, Bobby Davis, raised two girls in Iowa City, Sandra and Donna. And she has three grandchildren, Nola, CJ, and Logan. Welcome to One of a Kind, Kitty. This is really going to be an interesting program because you have a wonderful story to tell. Your story begins, I know, in Hong Kong in 1937, where you were born.
Right.
Tell me a bit about your first family and about getting to the United States. You have some stories about this.
Coming here, well, I met my husband in Hong Kong, and he was with the air attaché, and my boss played bridge with him. So I met him through them.
Okay. And what about your parents, your mother and your father?
They Cantonese.
Cantonese, in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong. She was a school teacher, and he was a playboy.
Oh.
So he is Buddhist and she is Christian, so all they do is fight.
So your mother must have gone to the university, which was very amazing at that time.
Right.
Was it the University of
Nanjing, now called Beijing.
Beijing. So she studied to be a teacher,
Right.
was a teacher,
Yes.
married your father who was a playboy, and we are still in Hong Kong now?
In China then, I was just a little baby. We
Oh.
lived there for a while, and then till the Japanese came, we went to Hong Kong, escaped to Hong Kong, and then when the communists, from Hong Kong we escaped to China.
I think it was
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
And then in 1947, when the communists came, we escaped to Hong Kong. So I went through 2 wars.
You were a refugee then?
Yes, I was a refugee, and it's really scary, so I'm really against war. I never forget when the siren comes and we all hide and afraid to lose your parents at that age, young, tender age.
And you had 3 sisters and one brother. And tell me about this situation with the girls and then the son.
Well, the girls are not important in Chinese family. So my dad took the son in 1948, went to Hong Kong, and left my mom with 4 girls in Shanghai. It was really scary because we have nothing to eat, and I remember one time we had to split a banana in 4, and so we all learned to survive.
My goodness.
So I have a lot of feelings for the refugees all over the world.
And got involved in helping feed the hungry here in Iowa City, which we will get to. So how did you survive financially in Shanghai? How did your mother do it with these 4 little girls and no husband?
We live off our relatives, and it's not easy to get a free meal. And those that have, we look down on those that don't have. And so I told myself, if I ever made it in this world, I'm going to give back to the people that needs help.
Kitty, tell me how your mother influenced you.
As a child, I did not appreciate going to church day after day, week after week. And not until about 15 years ago, I started to realize that what she taught me is very important. Going to church, somebody must have looked after me from a little bitty on. And how I learned to speak English, learned to read.
Who taught you that? Did she teach you that?
No, I taught myself. But that's the part I really appreciate her. It's bringing me up as a Christian. But I really pushed her away, pushed Christianity away until about 15 years ago. Then I realized that I have someone look after me.
Was this kind of an epiphany? Did you just wake up one morning, or was it gradual?
Gradually,
Gradually you came to this.
And then I had my own children, and it was hard to raise 2 girls because I didn't know how to teach them or tutor them with school because I don't have any education.
Now your sisters and you said before the interview started that none of you were able to go to college.
Right. None of us have any education, but all of us has become something.
And successful.
Successful, yes.
Tell me about your sisters. Where are they?
One in Vancouver. She runs the office for her husband. He's the MD. And she became a realtor. And then another one in Los Angeles. She became an actress.
An actress?
Yes.
Is she still working?
Not anymore.
Not
We're all in
anymore.
our 60s now.
Well, so would we have seen a movie that she was in?
Yes, she was with William Defoe. It's called Experiment, Pavilion of Women. It was filmed in China. This is about 4 years ago. And pretty good job she did it.
Good. Is it true that I read in the research, did she have a date with Marlon Brando?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
they're good friends. And I had dinner with him, with his children. And that's kind of exciting.
Yes. And your third sister, what about?
That one has a little mental illness, I think. She didn't want to have anything to do with us.
Oh, so
She lives in Hawaii.
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, well, you 4 have come through so much in early part of your life, and you've all come out the other side, it sounds like, in different ways. And you said you met your husband, Bobby,
In Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong. Was this when you were a stewardess for Qantas Airlines?
Oh, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. I didn't meet him on the plane, though.
No, you
Although my sister married one on the plane. She also worked for Canadian Pacific Airway. And she met her husband.
So what was it like for you in 1962 moving to Iowa City?
Actually, America is not much different from Australia.
So you moved from Australia to Iowa City.
Right. So I'm kind of used to the foreign language and the food. Although I miss Chinese food dearly, that's why I gained weight, because I was always experimenting on Chinese food.
Who taught you to cook? You're here, there's your catering business, and you have cooked for people and wedding cakes. Who taught you to cook?
Myself.
You did? You're self-taught?
Yes, self-taught. It was fun to meet all the people that gives me money for Salvation Army. I did their wedding cakes or dinner.
I want to talk, before we get into your Salvation Army work, I want to talk a bit about your husband, Bobby, who a year ago died. And you said that he taught you
How to love.
How to love.
Yes. I was a bit of a playboy myself, playgirl myself. And after I met him, my mother was so happy. Here's this gentleman. He taught me how to do a lot of things. How to love is one, and how to save money, not to spend money.
And he himself gave, after he retired, he also did things for the community, Meals on Wheels and Salvation. He worked at the Salvation Army also?
As the volunteer bookkeeper. At that time, we didn't have many money at Salvation Army. And so he volunteered to be, and then he also does income tax for the poor with the AARP. And he goes to people's home that cannot come, cannot go anywhere. He goes there and do the rent rebate. So
you were doing this together, the two of you?
Yeah, every morning he goes one way and I go the other way. And then we meet at home about 4 and discuss what we did during the day.
Was it hard for you getting involved in the Salvation Army? Has it been difficult asking people for money?
No, I was blessed with a big mouth and lots of guts.
You seem so gentle.
Well, that's one of my blessings, I think, is to come straight with a face that say, I need this and I need that. And usually people write me a check and say, oh, since I can't do this, take this money.
And get the food.
How
did it, see, it's been about 12 years the soup kitchen started at the South. How did it get started? How did you do it?
Well, I have a very nice captain at the Salvation Army, Captain Miller. She's very gutsy. And during 1993, we had that flood. And people need food, and we need to feed people. So she decided to open a soup kitchen, asked me could I join her. Without any permission from the headquarters, we start opening that soup kitchen, and we went everywhere to feed people. And so
was it word of mouth for people to find you?
Yes.
And then they just came and...
Well, we have a broken down canteen, doesn't even have a chair. We went from places to feed people and just tell them that we're going to have a soup kitchen open up and come and eat.
And then you've said there have been some wonderful businesses and people in the private sector who have been very supportive of this.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about them?
Sure. Dr. and Mrs. Lumen always gives me money. Now he's a board member. And John and Ellie Dane gives me ice cream. Hy-Vee at Waterfront, Al Diggs, he supplied me with lots of food. And Barb Nicknish and Sue Judish are very, very nice.
Good.
And many, many other people. And then Dottie Ray too. They let us go to her show. And that's how
The word gets out to people.
Yeah. It wasn't easy. We didn't have any money. But that place has such luck, miracle, you could say. When we need food, food comes. When we need money, money comes. And it's been going on for years and years.
Are you still cooking there, or have you retired?
I retired due to illness, but last Saturday I did a dinner for the people because my husband died a year ago, and I want to do something in his name.
So how many people came to your dinner?
Must be at least 75.
So what did you cook?
Chicken and rice.
How wonderful.
Yeah. And then there's potato. We made a pumpkin bar.
And so they must have a big, it's the kitchen is pretty equipped at the Salvation Army?
Yes. I think, I don't know who donated money for, or maybe during the flood, the money came from the government just for the kitchen. And UPS gave us a big refrigerator, things like that.
Now, you've made friends with some of these people who had no other place to go,
Right.
who were homeless or newly arrived in Iowa City, and there have been some wonderful, good stories that turned out very positively. Could you share a couple of those?
I met a guy work at Panera as a cleaning, and when I met him, he was really down. Has no money, no place to live. So I got busy and looked for money, got him an apartment, and took him to a free medical clinic. He needs medicine, he's diabetic. So that part, as soon as he got well, he started getting jobs, job after job after job. And I thought that was very rewarding for me.
Absolutely.
There's a guy from Canyon, is it?
Kenya in
Yes.
Africa, yes?
Yes. He works at night, and he would come every day about 3, 4. I said, "Are you going to stay for dinner?" He said, "No, I have to go to work." So I would fix him a little box, a little sack dinner, and he goes to work day after day, and all of a sudden, a year later, he's driving a car. He's got a job, work all night. He brought his family here, and that was a successful story.
Is he still here in Iowa City?
Yes.
He
yes.
is.
So it's not that people come for a free meal, and it's not easy to go to a free dinner. I've been there. So I want people to feel they are one of us when they come and eat.
That must be very important to them.
Yes, very.
That's a lovely way to do it,
Yes.
Kitty. That
Oh,
really
thank you.
is. Really
Yeah, I love
is.
all of them. I see everybody has a good point. You look through their eyes. They, whether they're robbers or whatever, they're not going to tell you.
No.
But you see something good in them.
And they sense that. They
Yeah.
sense that from you. And it
Yes.
makes them trust
Yes,
the process in coming to the Salvation Army.
right. And then when I moved to another place last summer, they all came and helped me move. Isn't that amazing?
My goodness.
And they don't want money. I said, no, you're going to take money. Otherwise, I'm not going to ask you to help me move.
So, how did you decide this cooking, as I said in the introduction, as a theme of yours? And How did you happen to decide to make wedding cakes? Which, from chicken and rice to, Chinese food to wedding cakes. That's such, for me, a leap.
Oh, well, while the kids was in elementary school, I got bored. So I started looking at pictures of birthday cakes and cupcakes, and so I started bringing cakes every month to school. And then one of the teachers said, "It's so pretty. My daughter's getting married. You want to try to make me a wedding cake?"
Oh.
And that's how I started it. And I met wonderful people through making cakes.
So they got more and more elaborate?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then they start giving me money for Salvation Army to buy food.
You made a family 4 wedding cakes for 4 different weddings in the family, or 4 wedding cakes for one occasion?
For the whole family. Actually, they only have 3 daughters. And I start to make one, and then the second one, and then the third one. And it happens all the time. And I did a lot of dinner for the Beasley, too.
Oh.
The children got married, and even the son John graduated from college, I think, law school. I did his dinner.
Now, do you do Chinese food, or do you do kind of a fusion, kind of a over the board, cross section of types of food?
Only
Chinese?
Chinese food.
Uh-huh.
And then after I retired, he called. He said, "I have a friend, Jim Hayes. His birthday is coming up. I want you to do his dinner." I said, "No way, John. I'm retired." He said, "I won't take no for an answer."
So did you?
So I did.
For how many?
Only 50.
Only 50?
Yeah. Well, if you cook 10, you might as well cook 100.
How big is your kitchen?
Very small.
Very small.
Very, very small. But I managed to
Wonderful.
do a lot of dinners.
Some people you just can't say no to, can you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question. This is such a kind of a minutia question, but I'm just curious. Are all wedding cakes white?
No.
No.
I do chocolate. I do carrot cake. And one family here, she said she wants poppy seed cake.
So you made that?
Yeah, she gave me her recipe, and I did a beautiful job. And she ended up giving me a big donation for the soup kitchen.
So it's a nice dance between the two of them, I think.
Yes,
that you get some people to help you out, and you help them out.
Right.
Now, did your 2 daughters inherit this love of cooking from you?
No.
No?
No.
They just had wonderful food growing up.
Yes, they are good cooks, so. But
Tell me where they are and your grandchildren. Tell me where they live and what they're about.
Sandra married to a McHugh, Jim McHugh's son. They live in Summit Street. They're in California. They have a 12-year-old daughter. And Donna married Iwan. They live in North Liberty, had 2 sons, CJ and Logan.
And Logan.
Yes.
So you're a grandmother.
They're my life right now.
Oh, that's lovely. So my question was, when you're not volunteering or baking cakes or making these wonderful dinners, what do you enjoy doing? But I think you're probably going to say playing or seeing your grandchildren.
Yes.
How old are the ones in North Liberty?
One is 10, one is 5 months.
And 5 months.
And I do go to the water to do arthritis aerobic.
Kitty, when you're not baking and you're not volunteering, what do you like to do in your spare time? I know your grandchildren, your 2 grandchildren who live in North Liberty take up some of your time, but what else do you enjoy doing?
Going to the pool, do my arthritis aerobic, and walking with my good friend, Maury Cosentina.
I forgot to ask you when we were talking about these people who were helping you and helping the Salvation Army, that Dr. Lumen has given so much of his time to these people who come and need help and don't have medical help. And is it true that someone named their baby after you?
Oh, yes. I, at one time of my life, I did volunteer work at the hospital as a translator. And this Chinese girl getting ready to give birth and lived very close to me, my house. She wants to know if I could help her. I said, sure. So 4 o'clock in the morning, got this phone call. I said, I'm in labor. And I picked her up in 5 minutes and took her to the hospital. And they let me go into the room wearing surgical outfit. And then a girl came out, and they named her after me, Mei Mei.
Mei Mei.
Yeah, my middle name is Mei in Chinese.
Oh, that's lovely. That must have made you feel very special.
Yes.
Kitty, I often ask my guests who or what had a major influence on them. And I know you've spoken of what your mother taught you and then your husband, Bobby, who taught you so many things. And you said especially how to love. Is there anyone else in your life that made a big difference for you?
Well, besides reading Mother Teresa, my grandfather, he was a missionary.
Oh.
He came to America in 1930s to become a Christian and went back to Hong Kong. He's always feeding the poor in the street. We have a lot of beggars sitting in the sidewalk. So every morning he will go out.
In Hong Kong?
Oh, yes. He will go out and feed the poor.
Was this your mother's father?
Right.
Well, you have a theme running through your family, your grandfather and your husband, your mother, about helping the less fortunate. And we in Iowa City are so lucky that you decided to come here and live and then give back so much. And thank you, Kitty, for being my guest. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My guest on One of a Kind has been Kitty Davis. Kitty has helped many folks who were in need of food and shelter. She has befriended people at a critical time in their lives. Kitty has been called by some the silent angel of Iowa City. She has made a difference. Kitty Davis is one of a kind.